Day.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Tammy Fields. Curtis has a night off.
And I'm Brian Carrick. A few isolated showers and storms trying to pop on Klystron 13.
All right, we're going to talk more about that too in a moment, but here are your top stories in 90 seconds. Private visits of the Pulse nightclub continued today for the third day. This just one day after we marked 9 years since the tragic Pulse nightclub shooting. It resulted in 49 lives lost. Private visits will continue again tomorrow for survivors and family members.
No peace, no ice in our streets.
Big crowd here gathered outside of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office in downtown Orlando. Several elected officials were here calling out lawmakers who support deportations. Among those, State Representative Ana Escamani, State Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith, and a pair of Orange County commissioners. More demonstrations are expected to take place this weekend. Suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez remains behind bars at this hour, just 8 days following his arrest. This is a live look at the jail. Detectives continue searching for a fifth co-defendant they say was involved in an alleged illegal gambling operation. Ying Zhang has yet to be taken into custody. The other co-defendants, Carol Cody, Sharon Fedrick, and Sheldon Weatherholt, have already bonded out. I want to talk about the rain that we're seeing out there. Let's check in with Brian for the very latest this weekend.
Yeah, pretty isolated. So
Okay.
maybe dinner at Maxine's on Shine, heading out to iDrive, taking in one of the parks, just have an umbrella handy just in case. But most of us should stay dry this evening. Got a nice little downpour sliding up and across Lake County at this point, just east of Leesburg. And we've been watching activity to our south as well across Osceola County, but very isolated in nature. Now, most of us will stay dry with a partly cloudy evening, warm conditions expected. Temperatures tonight into the 70s, back into the 90s for this upcoming weekend.
Thank you, Brian. Well, today is now the third day that the city of Orlando is allowing survivors and families of the victims from the Pulse nightclub shooting to actually visit the site, go inside the site one last time before it's demolished. Over a period of 4 days, 250 survivors and family members who responded to the city's request will go inside the former nightclub. Families could bring up to 6 people in their group, and survivors were allowed 1 support person. Spectrum News 13's Maciel Leyva, she is joining us live from outside of Pulse. Maciel, what have you seen there today?
Tammy, we have been here since this morning, and we have seen a total of 8 buses that brought victims' families as well as survivors here to walk through the site. We know that those buses came every hour starting at 9:45 a.m. this morning, and the very last one just got here a few minutes ago. We know that the families were allowed to go inside for 30 minutes alongside the city's outreach coordinator for support.
Every year on the week of June 12, Danae Barton visits the site of the former Pulse nightclub.
I pray every time I come down here for every one of the 49 victims and their families. It's very hard, but I feel like, it's a step forward for us to come as a people to see this, to move through this, and to stay and stick together for all of this.
This week marks 9 years since the tragedy where 49 people were killed. Barton says she comes to pay her respects as she vividly remembers the morning after when she donated blood for the victims.
I feel so much remorse for the people that were lost that night. Waking up that next morning, I knew that I had to do something, so I actually stepped in line with everybody else and went down and gave my blood.
This year, for the first time ever, victims' families and survivors had the opportunity to visit the inside of the building before it gets demolished. A total of 250 people will be going inside the building from Wednesday to Saturday to see the place where their loved ones took their last breath.
They find solace in being in that space because it's a very sacred space for so many people. And, they just want to be wherever their loved one was or wherever they escaped. And that's the important thing for them.
It touches home with everybody, even though some of the people I knew, lost, seen at clubs, it touches home for all of us. We're all a family at the end of the day.
Visits will continue here through this Saturday when more buses will be bringing more family members here as well as survivors to walk through this site. Reporting live in Orlando, Maciel Leyva, Spectrum News.
Maciel, thank you. Well, plans for 2 memorials are currently in the works. Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer said he hopes that work will begin on a permanent memorial next year, with completion expected by the summer of 2027 at the site of the tragedy. You can see the renderings here. It will include a reflection space and 49 columns of rainbow glass to represent the 49 angels. Crews in Osceola County, they are expected to break ground on a memorial in October. County leaders commissioned this piece called Wings of the Rainbow. The 49-foot tall glass sculpture will be built at Brownie Wise Park. For more coverage on all of the efforts across our area to honor the victims of Pulse, as well as a journey to that permanent place of reflection, we have organized those stories for you on our website at mynews13.com, or you can find them on the Spectrum News app. Some breaking news to tell you about this evening. Iran has launched dozens of ballistic missiles at Israel in retaliation of an unprecedented attack on an Iranian nuclear program. We're told several top Iranian military leaders have been killed. Officials say the U.S. military is helping Israel intercept the missiles fired in Iran's counterstrike. You're looking at the aftermath of some of those strikes right now. All of this is causing concern that the Middle East could be on the brink of a regional war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says more attacks are on the way.
The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them.
Tensions between Israel and Iran reached a crisis point this week when a watchdog agency censored Iran for the first time in 20 years. That was for not complying with its obligations meant to prevent it from developing a nuclear weapon. The escalating conflict also follows President Donald Trump's efforts to broker a nuclear deal with Iran. We are continuing to monitor the situation in the Middle East. We'll bring you the very latest right here on air and online at mynews13.com. New tonight, Florida lawmakers say they are now just days away from signing off on a new state budget. The announcement comes after more than a month of on and off negotiations. Spectrum News 13's Jason Delgado has more now on that timeline.
Well, folks, by my math, it took us about 102 days just to get here, but finally, looks like we've got ourselves the makings of a state budget.
Representative McClure, I'm pleased to announce that the Senate accepts the House's offer on pre-K-12 education back of the bill.
Florida lawmakers say they're now ready to land the plane on state spending. On Friday, the House and the Senate made several key agreements, and now, up next, a final vote on Monday. This new budget reduces spending while increasing reserves. It comes after a weeks-long stalemate over spending and tax cuts.
The House is very thankful for the Senate's collaboration on reimagining or recalibrating the spending practices of the state of Florida. And that isn't ever an easy conversation, no matter in government or in business or in homes across the state. Choices have to be made, right?
Well, if you're a state worker, go ahead, take that sigh of relief. This budget agreement should mean that Florida will avoid a government shutdown, which, by the way, would have happened come July 1st. I'm Jason Delgado, inside the Capitol, Spectrum News.
Changing the work week requirements for our first responders, the new shifts coming to some of our local fire stations to help with staffing levels. We'll have that story in a moment. But first, all eyes on the skies as we get ready for Father's Day weekend, Brian.
That's right, Tammy. And the big question, will the weather cooperate? Well, you need your rain gear. We'll check it out in the 7-day. We're going to pay a few bills. We'll be back on Spectrum News 13 after this.